First, let's talk about why humans have evolved to become stressed in the first place. This is Henry. He's a Homo sapien. He only needed to eat, sleep, and reproduce. Due to this simplistic lifestyle, his body only had to fight disease and hungry animals. When face to face with a ravenous wolf, his body would do one of three things: fight, flight, or freeze. But surely Henry was able to take on this measly wolf. No, Henry was the flighter, so he went away home and cried about it. When Henry has seen a wolf, his hypothalamus, located behind his eyes, releases corticotropin releasing hormone, or CRH. This hormone then causes a pituitary gland just below it to produce adrenocorticotropic hormone, or ACTH. This hormone makes its way down to the kidneys where the adrenal glands are located. The outer layer of these glands produces cortisol and epinephrine. You may know epinephrine better as adrenaline. These both raise blood pressure and increase blood sugar levels. Despite the two having similar effects, cortisol actually lasts a lot longer but is a lot weaker than adrenaline. Now imagine Henry as a modern man. He is working at his desk and hits a mental wall. He can't think of what to do and becomes frustrated. He becomes stressed. This happens to Henry often, and he becomes obese and has heart problems. The obesity is because whilst there is cortisol and adrenaline being produced, he is not burning it off with exercise by sitting down at his computer. The cortisol increases the glucose in our blood, thus making him crave fatty and sugary foods. After time, Henry gains more and more weight. Due to the strain of his heart from the increased blood pressure, he is now at higher risk of heart failure and disease. To add to this, Henry could develop bad coping strategies for the stress he is experiencing. He could turn to an addiction of alcohol or cigarettes to calm himself down, but we know this won't make the situation any better. And yet there are still many more consequences of being overstressed. I spoke to medical professor Kavita Vedhara of health psychology at the University of Nottingham about psychoneuroimmunology, or PNI.
So PNI is the scientific study of the connections between the mind and the body. Stress and other emotions, both positive and negative, are known to affect key physiological systems in the body. The main ones that have been researched are the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous systems. Now, these three systems are very important because they themselves play a role in illness and the development of illness, but also they communicate directly with the immune system, which, as you know, plays a very important role in protecting us from disease and eradicating disease when it occurs. So the fact that emotions such as stress can trigger the activity of these physiological pathways provides a biological mechanism by which stress can affect our health. So the evidence in terms of whether or not stress can make illness worse is fairly compelling. It's most compelling in situations where the illness itself, the immune system plays a role in the illness. So, for example, infectious diseases or HIV infection are two good examples. Autoimmune diseases are other examples of diseases where the immune system plays a critical role. And the second circumstance in which you see this playing out is when the people who are affected by the illness are vulnerable themselves in some way. So again, another good example would be older people. Older people have a naturally declining immune system simply as a function of getting older. So older people who are stressed are vulnerable because they have two assaults on their immune system. They've got the assault by stress and that by the aging process. So yes, there is some good evidence, and particularly in those sorts of contexts.
Well, I work with students, and often people will come and see me for different reasons. But often they might be stressed about work. It could be causing them other problems. It can lead on to other problems and then not dealing with stress very well. I first of all try and identify why they may be feeling stress. And the
third question.
So I ask how they sleep, if they're kind of their diet, if they're eating okay, and exercise. Exercise is a really good way to reduce stress levels, but clearly you're not going to feel like exercising if you're not eating or sleeping very well. It's going to affect your ability.
So you would say essentially improve your sleep pattern to improve the other two?
Well, yeah, I mean it could be one of those things that's not working very well for you at that time as well. And stress can affect you sleeping. So often people keep themselves very busy, and it's only when their head hits a pillow that they start to think about the things that have been making them feel stressed. So one of the things that I would suggest is asking them to take some time out during the day just to think about the things that are making them stressed, and think about if there's any solutions they could look at. So for example, if you're stressed about your workload, you might go and talk to your tutor about the work that you're doing and make sure that you clearly understand what you're meant to do.